Welcome to Wednesday, baby. Um, I've got a lot going on I want to talk about. So I'm gonna have to break this up into sessions. Let's address, by the way, I finished this up. I will be discussing tomorrow. Okay? I'm gonna review it one more time to make sure I got everything exactly like I wanted when I discussed them. Okay? Um, and before I publish it, I'll read it to you all before I publish it on my Substack. Oh, hello, sweetness. How are you, love? Um, I said the other day that my Facebook was down. Let's talk about that first and some other things. All right. Whew. Okay. That's on the poetry group. All right. So, over the years, I have had repeated issues across multiple platforms, including Facebook, Meta platforms, uh, TikTok, BitDance, Snapchat, Snap Incorporated, Twitter, X Corporation, and at one time, Etsy and I had some issues, but it was resolved, and I'm still a seller on Etsy. I've had account bans or restrictions, loss of access to audiences and promotional tools, a hacked account, Twitter X, marketplace limitations, Facebook, a long-term pattern of platform instability affecting my work. I'm a creative and I have creative and promotional work such as poetries, interviews, and book promotions. When people have contests they're in that they need votes for, I go ahead, I vote for them, I share them on my page. I'm involved as an adult entertainer, even prior to my first book interview with J.L. King. I wasn't doing entertainment work then, I started after. And I barely show too much, but we'll get into that later. And I'm rarely on there, and it's mainly the other things that I do. The first time this happened on Facebook, before I had my interview with J.L. King, my page just disappeared. There was no warning, and it disappeared for about a week. And so I hit him up. I said, "Hey, we got an interview coming up, honey, and I have no Facebook page. I have no way to." That was my main page I was building on at that time in regards to getting my members and things of that nature. Members, future clients, fans, associations, networking, I guess I should say overall. He says, "Well, I looked at your page and you're always so bright and positive, and I don't understand why they would be, before this interview, pulling the page like this and not letting you know anything, not telling you anything." So I ended up calling the corporate. Well, I looked to find a Facebook number, only to realize there was no customer service number for Facebook. That there was not a human, I guess I should say, that was there to take care of anything customer service wise. So he called a buddy of his who worked for Facebook and talked to him. He said, "This is what's going on with this young lady that I'm going to be interviewing." He says, "And we don't understand why." And he was told at that time that that happens to a lot of businesses on Facebook. And then once the platform is gone, there's no one to talk to obtain the platform back. They're like fish in the deep middle of the ocean of the sea, never to be heard from again unless they start from scratch. Well, somebody apparently didn't like what I said. I'm a poet. I don't have no fear. I speak what's on my mind from today going forward, from my history going forward, from whatever going forward. Freedom of speech, freedom of expression is my birthright. Okay? Now, I do understand that on these platforms, you all do have community guidelines, but the most you might catch me in is some lingerie. And I have seen people on these platforms without a stitch on, and I keep records because I screenshot them. Because I'm like, oh, they're doing the most. They're in their birthday suit, and all they've got covered up is their private parts with another body part, not a stitch on. So I appealed it. And the way I appealed it, they sent over, they wanted to make sure I wasn't a bot. Last time I checked, I wasn't a bot. And they did the facial screen, where they screen your face, you turn this way, you turn, I don't know if you've ever had to do that, but like for when I started OnlyFans, or if I had to do the facial recognition. For some of the government systems you operate, you have to use facial recognition. So this was like a facial recognition scanning tool. They said we're going to get back with you in 24 to 48 hours. Right now you're on a ban for like 180 days until we get back to you since you're appealing this. We'll let you know if it's final or not. So we're going to talk about some things. Hello, Gersha Josiah 8261. Okay, and Bobby Good in 3881. 3883. Bobby Gooden. All right, hey baby. So this is my interpretation. Oh, so a specific disruption involving a plan. Okay, I talked about the interview. At that time, when that happened, while he was reaching out to someone for Facebook that worked there, I had contacted the news, the NAACP, the LGBT community, and a few other people to see about assistance and people that I knew who worked within the media realm. Okay, I still have those emails. I saved them all to date. And then, like I just said, I screenshot everything because I want to know why I'm targeted and other people are not. So I don't think it's what I post. I think it's my voice and my expressions. Example, for this weekend, someone hit up my inbox. They sent me a few different things happened this past weekend, and I had to just kind of halt. We're not doing this. Someone sent me something to listen to that they had written, and it talked about falling for the slime, the person in jail, and it talked about settling for the mean old man. And I immediately hit them back and I said, declined across the board. Because I just put out a Cosmic Orgasm album and it says no struggle love. That sounds like struggle 24/7, 365 days out of the year. And then the sound had the nerve to have poetry behind it. with a lady, and you could tell they were doing some things in the background. It's a decline over here. Um, I had another person who hit my inbox and asked me for my time. And I said, services for my time is this. You are absolutely correct. I'm not free. So once they found, if you didn't make a payment, I've got I've got other things already lined up to do. You need to schedule a time. So after payment is made for my availability of what I can do for you, you didn't do that. I'm unavailable. So instead, they sent me pictures that I didn't ask for or request. Um, and then they also sent me a clip of some things going on. Uh, it's not the first time I've received gifts or treasures or anything else like that in my mailbox. But what you want from me is access. What you want from me is one-on-one time. I charge for one-on-one time. So I erased the entire conversation, and because he texted me and he asked me, what did you think of the position? I don't know you. You don't know me. We're not long-term friends. This is not the place for this. I have adult entertainment pages for that. I have books if you want to know what my intellectual property is that I charge for. Buy a book. So I sent him a screenshot and I told him I erased that entire conversation, honey. And then I don't mind like my inbox if you are sending me like poetry that you want to promote on my page, especially if you're in my poetry group or if you've got a book you just dropped. I don't mind any of that. That comes with it with me being a poet. Just like I promote people, I want people to promote me. That's just the whole 360 degree. Just like you buy a book and leave reviews, you want them to do the same for you. When they buy books from you, you want them to leave a review. That's how that works. So voting just happened. And that video I did a few days ago where I talked about what goes around comes around, and that the universe pretty much does not forget what anybody does. Okay? So karma is something else. Okay? The universe takes notes, and people sometimes don't like the mirror that is presented to them in regards to reflection and truth. But that's not on me. That's on you. Let's talk about boundary setting, tone, and assertiveness may be triggering enforcement or reports. Inconsistency or unfair treatment compared to other users. Considered this could involve discriminatory based on protection characteristics, race, or gender. I question whether enforcement is purely policy-based or something more targeted. So yesterday I did write up whether or not I would consider a legal angle. Quite frankly, anybody from my poetry group is welcome to come over to my Substack. I have talked with them before on my Substack, telling them you need to have a system set up to collect information automatically anyway. The reason for that is Substack automatically, once they sign into your articles or subscribe, it captures their email. I said you need to have a capture for moments like this. Okay? when you are being locked out of platforms. That's not your platform. Just like I'm talking to you on YouTube, this is not my platform. So Substack is my capture. There are, let's see, creators, creators that have been in the game a long time and have a huge mass following, and they have their website set up for their capture, or they have their YouTube set up for your capture. So this is a perfect example of why your capture would be needed, because you need that email list. That is what you own once you have that. Otherwise, the platform owns who you have. Okay? So if you have something going on bigger than a book, if you have mastermind sessions going on, if you have memberships that you want to develop with some of these individuals, if you later on decide you want to do retreats across the globe, if you want to send out invites to anything you have going on personally that's not on a platform, that is direct for you to be able to market to, that is what that capture is all about. All right, let's see here. So, to my poetry folks, most of the poetry folks that was in my group who were interactive are already on my Substack, thankfully. The group had about 323, but only 13 to 14 of them were truly active participants. Okie dokie. Let's see. All right, so platforms like Meta platforms have broad terms of service allowing them to suspend accounts for any or no reason. I have a friend of mine, he tried to come back on Facebook after a few times. For some reason, they simply just did not like him. He came back one day and was gone the next. Legal cases require proof of discrimination or policy violation, not just unfair outcomes. Okay? You can screenshot stuff and you can have a timeline of documented financial harm, things of that nature, to be essential for any type of legal consultation. I know people who have said, this is my new page, and they would have had like over 100,000 people. And they're like, I'm trying to get all my folks back because my last page got deleted. I know people personally who have had started it like 3 times, and then the page gets pulled or deleted. Now, why anybody, I'm not, why anybody would go back after being told no to try to rebuild their page is beyond me. That sounds like struggle. That sounds like, if you don't want me, I don't want to be there. So I'm not about to do that to myself. And I learned that platforms often rely on automated systems, user reports, risk profile signals, content category sensitivity. It's not what I wear, it's how I use my voice. Very vocal. They flag tone, phrasing, and engagement patterns. Confrontational language. Enforcement is heavily influenced by risk, perceived risk, and human interpretation can differ sharply from automated moderation systems. Now, the issue I had earlier with Etsy, that didn't have anything to do with adult content, but books and things of that nature. Hey, Sugar Pie. Got a little baby walking by my window. Hey, Sugar. Okay. So, automation, human review. Um, Sometimes how you have things worded on the sites can get you flagged. Okay. If I decided I wanted retribution, which I have not decided on yet, I could seek a civil rights attorney. I did look up a few. Let's talk about International Poetry War Group. So when I put my poetry group name into Chat GPT, we're going to call him Marvin for now. And I said, hey, look, this is my group. What is your suggestion going forward? It said, I'm not just dealing with a Facebook group. I'm dealing with a brand, community hub, and public-facing identity that happens to be hosted on Facebook. It says your group name already signals artistic provocation, reclamation language, horror used intentionally. Mixed creative disciplines, poets, musicians, comedians, painters, a broad cross-genre creative space, a strong identity-based brand, not a casual meetup. This kind of framing is powerful, but it also makes platforms more sensitive to it, especially on meta systems. Your group actually is right now a creative collective, a promotional network for artists, a performance pipeline, poets interview exposure, a community brand. That is exactly the kind of thing that exists locally in Indianapolis already. Indiana Writer Centers supports writers in development work for Indiana Writer chapters. Indie Untitled operates as a poetry collective with open mics and publication pathways. Indie Untitled. Brick Street Poetry is a formal non-profit poetry organization in the city. Brick Street Poetry. Meetup-based writing groups like Mid-World Art Writers Group already function as structured collective Mid-World Arts Writers Group. So your group is not unusual, it's part of a real ecosystem. The difference is yours is more identity forward and platform dependent. Yes, because I intend to be a digital nomad in regards to business, not an actual physical location. I want to be able to do what I need to do anywhere that I need to do it, not just in a building. The real problem you're running into, your group is currently a high expression, high visibility, loosely moderated creative space holder on a platform that is hostile to ambiguity. The group is not built for provocative naming conventions, adult adjacent identity language, even if artistic, mixed public, private, creative communities, monetization or promotional activity, strong ideological or boundary heavy discourse. So what happens is reports increase, moderation systems flag activity faster, the entire group becomes risk weighted by association. That is why your broader platform issues keep repeating. Key decision you need to make now. Keep it on Facebook, convert it into a real independent collective. We're going to need a real independent collective. So, Substack's now going to be the home. Email list becomes membership. Casual discussion plus announcements, so optional Discord for interaction, but not the core structure. And then YouTube equals the performance stage. I was in the middle of planning an interview with two of the poets in my group to do my first interview for someone else on my YouTube channel. So that's what was coming up. I had downloaded their pictures. I was getting stuff together, going through their books, things of that nature, drawing what I wanted to question them on. Question them on. Sorry, y'all. and then repeat with other works that I have read by people in the poetry group. So my title is bold and intentional, but they don't like the terminology combined with the Adult Industry Association. It's called it's not wrongness, it's called classification risk inside automated moderated systems. So we're going to keep the name and move the function and turn it into International Poetry Whore Collective. A Substack YouTube-based literary collective, then Facebook becomes optional promotion, not a home base. I do the flyers, I give them to someone else, they can post them. And then my community lives off the platform. So it's not a content problem. It's a platform dependency, high expression identity mismatch problem, plus some report problems. And that can't be fixed by any other social media group. It only resets the cycle. Let's talk about goals. So my goal. The goal is to eventually travel internationally with these poets who have been dedicated within the group. The group actually changes everything in a group way because now I'm not just running a poetry group, I'm building a mobility plus touring creative collective. My real goal, what I would like to do in the future, develop a dedicated group of poets, curate consistent talent over time, create live performance opportunities, eventually travel internationally together for readings, showcases, and collaboration. And ChatGPT told me that this is already a model, but it's closer to a touring artist collective or residency-based troupe, not a social media group. What already exists in the world, I'm trying to build. These are existing systems that do exactly this. Poetry residencies, international travel support. I found out a few things. Art Army, fully funded international writer residencies with lodging and support. Academy School Sholo Solitude offers international residency exchanges with travel support and stipends. Amy Lowell Poetry Traveling Scholarships funds American poets to live and write abroad for a year. That sounds lovely. Funding ecosystems, how travel actually gets paid for. Most poetry travel happen through residencies, housing and stipend, grants for touring projects, invited festival appearances, institutional sponsorships. Organizations like the Poetry Foundation support grants and ecosystem funding for poetry organizations and initiatives. The key insight needed right now. The group is currently a community, but my goal is a curated touring roster. Those are structured differently. To get international travel, I would need three layers. Stable collective, my base, not base. Awesome. Oh, Miss Daisy _ her _ daisies. You're gorgeous. I love daisies too, honey. Thank you, sugar. She's so pretty. You're gorgeous. Awesome. Thank you, my love. All right. Performance pipeline. I ended at Substack publication, my hub, email roster, actual members, documented poet profiles. Performance pipeline. Recorded readings, YouTube, virtual showcases, theme anthology events, monthly, quarterly. This is what turns poets into selectable talent. Mobility strategy, the missing piece. This is where most groups fail. I will eventually need like festival submissions, residency applications, invited collaborations. But I'm just getting into the groove of things. This is just future foresight. Okay. So, yeah. And all it takes is like 5 to 10 poets, really, if that. So that is my discussion on that. I wanted to kind of explain what was going on. I won't be starting a new one, not doing any of that. Come on over to Substack. We can get some things started over there. The platform's awesome. It has where you can do podcasts. It has where you can chat back and forth with each other. It has where we can do see emails, and it'll be more personalized, okay, with the chats that it allows. So I'm looking forward to that. All right, I'm gonna end this. I'm gonna order my Uber, and it looked like I had about 20 minutes left. So I'm gonna see about coming back and talking about a few things. Mwah! Love tubers.